Alright everyone, so with Suicide Squad hitting theaters this weekend, we know that the film that is going to be in theaters, the theatrical cut, isn't exactly the final cut of the film that they had come to terms with. There was a lot of stuff that was cut out of the film, a lot of Joker scenes in the movie, so what we basically have here is the full extensive list of scenes that were cut from the film, moments that were cut from the film, character decisions, character moments, that sort of thing, Easter eggs. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to run down all of the things that were either added in reshoots of the movie or cut out completely from the original David Ayer cut of the film. So here we go. First off, one of the many changes to the film was the love triangle actually that was going to happen between Deadshot, Harley Quinn, and the Joker that was actually scrapped in favor of a relationship between Joker and Harley and a friendship between Deadshot and Harley. In early cuts, the movie opened with June Moon being possessed by the Enchantress. After reshoots, this was replaced by Deadshot's introduction, and the Enchantress's possession was reshuffled to later in the movie as a flashback. There was an extended Batmobile chase scene with more interaction between Joker and Harley, including Harley joking, "I hope you have insurance," and the Joker punching the roof of his car. These are things that were cut in the final film. There was a scene of Deadshot in his cell reminiscing about his daughter, El Diablo in his cell contemplating his life choices while observing a lit match which he then blows out, which we saw in the first Comic-Con sneak peek, and El Diablo using powers in his containment unit. Now the character of Captain Boomerang reportedly had more racist and sexist remarks that were said in the film that were ultimately cut out, and also his encounter with the Flash was added in reshoots using available footage from the original version in which he is captured by regular police. Jai Courtney and Ezra Miller were never on set together. Now as for Killer Croc, reportedly there was more of a backstory with the character. We got to see more of his traumatic childhood as a social outcast, his aspirations to seize control of Gotham's criminal underworld, his past history with Batman while working as a hired muscle for other mobsters, and his talent to create kitty sculptures. Now Croc was seen throwing up half-digested pieces of goat meat on the helicopter ride to Midway City to the disgust of nearby Navy SEALs. There were more scenes of Rick Flag and June Moon's relationship, including him talking to her about the members of the Suicide Squad, reading off of a series of envelopes that we saw in the Comic-Con trailer and in the Bohemian Rhapsody cut trailer, and the two share romantic scenes together. Now there was an extended version of Joker interrogating Captain Griggs as he's trying to find out where Harley Quinn is, including the line, "I can't wait to show you my toys," which was actually removed from the final film, funnily enough, because it was used in basically every trailer they had. There was also an extended version of the Joker and his men attacking the nanobomb facility and killing the scientists. Obviously, he attacks the facility to shut down the bombs that are in the Suicide Squad's necks. There's also a scene of Harley Quinn using her baseball bat as a mock rifle that wasn't in the movie, and Harley intercepts the Joker and his men after they shoot up a restaurant. Joker bangs his head against the window in frustration, and that leads directly into Harley pointing a gun at the Joker's head. This is when she's still Harley and Quinzel. He urges her to fire, but she doesn't do so. The Joker slaps Harley and then charms her again, and they make up. Now this scene was extensively documented, as a lot of people had set videos of this, and they'd taken videos of this entire sequence being shot where he gets out of his Lamborghini and the two share a scene where she still has Dr. Harleen Quinzel on her motorcycle, and he ends up slapping her and then they make up and everything. That was completely cut from the movie. There was also an extended version of the Enchantress confronting Waller at the War Room, including the line, "Let's do something fun," which was removed from the movie. Reportedly there were more interactions between Harley Quinn and Boomerang, whom Harley can't stand. I think that would have been kind of funny to see, and unfortunately we may never see that. There was also an extended version of Harley and Joker at Ace Chemicals before Harley jumps into the vat of chemicals, and which adds more dialogue, more character stuff. There was an extended version of the helicopter rescue sequence towards the end of the movie where Joker and Harley argue. Reportedly, in early cuts of the film, he pushes her out of the helicopter out of cruelty, and after the reshoots he does it to protect her from the impending crash. The extended version of the Suicide Squad at the bar had Harley serving everyone drinks. Deadshot drinks vodka, Katana drinks whiskey, Croc and Boomer drink beer, and Diablo settles for water, which Harley believes is a good idea. In the final cut, the scene cuts directly to Deadshot's speech about almost pulling it off, completely cutting out all that beginning stuff that was also in trailers. There's stuff later on in the film where we see Katana trapping souls ahead of the final battle, and Katana's eyes becoming white. The context is kind of unknown on these, as we'll never get to see them. There was also a sequence where Croc attacks Katana in the subway towards the middle point of the film when they get to Midway City. The context is also unknown because that scene was on the cutting room floor. There was a brief moment of Boomerang stopping after running away from the bar, which is kind of the turning point of the film where the Suicide Squad have to get their act together to go into the final battle. In the version that we see in theaters, Boomerang leaves the squad and then magically appears back again during the third act, but in the early cut of the film, he realizes that he needs to go help and goes back to the squad, and this is a short kind of scene, but they actually cut this out of the movie, so it kind of makes no sense when you see it in the final film. Now, there was also a pretty cool sequence in which the Joker intercepts and confronts the Suicide Squad on the subway as they're tracking Incubus to get Harley back. Reportedly, it leads to a shootout between Deadshot and the Joker, where Deadshot spares the Joker out of respect for Harley, and she decides not to go with the Joker, and he escapes on his own, leaving the others to die. Now, this is a scene in the Bohemian Rhapsody trailer, I believe, where the Joker's face is like half burnt, says bye-bye, and then he leaves. The after-credit scene featuring Bruce Wayne was also added in reshoots. David Ayer, who had gone on record criticizing Marvel Studios about using post-credit scenes for world building, justified himself by saying the stinger was a mid-credit scene, not a post-credit scene, completely different from how Marvel does things, even though Marvel also did mid-credit scenes since the Avengers, which is kind of weird. So overall, the reshoots added more humor, more jokes, more action scenes, and removed scenes that test audiences viewed as too dark and disruptive to the pace of the film. Early cuts also had reportedly the flashbacks peppered throughout the movie, which in the final cut were all condensed into the brief segments in the movie's first act, narrated by Amanda Waller and with Instagram-like graphics added by the studio Warner Brothers. So those are all the extended cuts and different things that the original version of the film had that the one that we don't actually have in theaters doesn't have. And again, this is a case that just like we had with Batman v Superman, where the studio meddled with the film and ultimately made it into something, well, not quite as good as it would have been, and especially because this also took away from David Ayer's original intention and his vision for the movie. You know, it was one thing when he was shooting it, he had all the footage done, and the studio had these two different cuts of the film. They had the fun studio cut, and then they had David Ayer's cut, which is more darker, subversive filmmaking, more along the lines of, you know, The Dark Knight or something like that, much more serious film. But the studio was very hesitant after BVS kind of tanked and people wanted to see more humor and stuff, so they said, hey, go do some reshoots, go back for a month, expensive reshooting to add a lot of stuff in their movie, and you know, it is what it is at this point. So I think we have a lot of stuff to blame for Warner Brothers and not ultimately David Ayer, because I don't think he's a bad filmmaker at all. But anyways, post your thoughts down in the comment section below. Would you guys have liked to see this extended version of the movie, and especially some of these sequences? A lot of the stuff that was cut out sounds pretty cool. We get a lot of Joker stuff in here, a lot more Harley Quinn stuff, a lot of character stuff too, actually. Just basically the same thing that we had BVS. A lot of the character stuff was cut out in favor of more action scenes and a overall tighter film. So anyways, leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. If you're stopping by the channel for the first time, hit that subscribe button down there to stay up to date on all of the latest content that we provide here at the Hybrid Network. My name is Nick, and I will catch you guys next time.